Good morning, White County. Don Strength with you from the White County Emergency Operations Center on the campus of the White County Public Safety Facility in Cleveland, Georgia. We are preparing now for a potentially destructive winter ice storm across the northern half of the state of Georgia, and particularly here in White County. So the preparations are done now. We are simply waiting for the onset of this potentially disaster that we could be dealing with here in White County. And so there are a few messages we want to get out to you this morning. First of all, preparation should be finishing now. If you live in White County, if you are a resident or a visitor of this county, please listen to what I am saying to you. Please finish preparations this morning. By 3 o'clock this afternoon, everyone in White County should be where they're going to be for the duration of this storm. Prepare to shelter in place for multiple days. We fully anticipate massive loss of power across this county, and travel will become impossible for multiple days. This is a very serious situation and potentially life-threatening situation. We are all very accustomed to snow. We're accustomed to 1, 2, 3, up to 6 inches of snow across the mountainous region of Northeast Georgia. Folks, what you are not accustomed to is 1/2 to 1 inch of ice. It's a totally different story. Regardless of what you think you're capable of doing, trust me when I tell you, you will not be able to drive on a solid sheet of ice. If you attempt to drive on a solid sheet of ice, you are putting your life in your hands. We strongly discourage travel once accumulation starts later on this evening. Be prepared to be without power, and if you heat with power, be prepared to be without heat for multiple days across the White County area. So if there's anything you need, supplies that you need to be able to survive 3, maybe up to 4 days without electricity and heat, you must secure that this morning and be complete by 3 o'clock this afternoon. We encourage you to be done by noon, but certainly off the roadways by 3. Sometime between 3 and 6 or 7 p.m. this evening is when we anticipate the accumulating ice to start across White County. And once it starts, travel will become impossible very quickly. I would anticipate by 9 or 10 o'clock tonight, we will be pretty much frozen in place. I don't know that we start losing utilities that soon. It may be after midnight before the power grid starts to fail. But nonetheless, you do not need to be on the roadways after about 3 o'clock this afternoon. And folks, that is an urgent plea from all of public safety to all of our residents and visitors across White County. Because here's what can happen if you don't listen to what we're telling you. If you get out there on the roadways and you slide off into a ditch, now we have to respond to get you to a point of safety. That inhibits us to respond to the true emergencies. So please listen to what we're asking you to do. No more travel after 3 p.m. this afternoon across White County. Please prepare to shelter in place for 2, 3, maybe even 4 days in our county. There may come a point in the height of this after midnight tonight and during the early morning hours tomorrow where it may become impossible for us to respond to emergency calls. Please be very patient. At the very least, some of our response times may be significantly delayed. We are going to do everything we possibly can do within our human power to come to your need in a life emergency situation. But please understand, there may come that time that we can simply not get to you. Be prepared for those type situations. We ask that you be very patient with our 911 center. We have 94% of our staff already in place at our White County 911 center. We'll be rotating those employees through the 911 center as needed. We are prepared to hunker down and to be here with you through this entire storm. And I promise you, we're going to do everything we possibly can to get to those who are in need. But again, understand, there may come a point where we can't do that. Make sure that you have the necessary items to survive this storm. Be careful when you're calling 911. Make sure that it is a true emergency, because our center, even though we have all of our employees in place, will become overwhelmed very quickly. There may be delays in answering the phone. There may be delays in dispatching help to you. So please don't call 911, especially the emergency 911 number, unless you have a true emergency. I can tell you without doubt that the lower priority calls will be delayed significantly. Only the true emergency calls will we attempt to respond to. When your power fails, there's not a magic switch we can throw or a magic number we can call to get your power back on. In this particular case that we're facing this evening, it is very likely that we will lose our entire power grid across the entire county. Therefore, every single person calling us when they lose power is unnecessary. If you have a power line that is down, that is causing a life safety issue, by all means, call 911. But please don't tie up our lines to call us and tell us that you've lost power. If that power line is on fire, if it is across a vehicle with someone in it, if it's creating a life safety issue, then absolutely you need to call 911. Otherwise, please refrain from calling to tell us simply that you've lost power. We are standing up a congregate shelter at the White County Park and Recreation Facility there at our new gymnasium. You do need to pre-register or call the number that you see at the bottom of the screen to let us know that you intend to be there. We are asking that all citizens who wish to take advantage of the shelter that we're standing up today be in place by 2 o'clock this afternoon. So please follow that link that you see at the bottom of the screen, or call that number that's scrolling at the bottom of the screen if you plan on attending and being on site at our congregate shelter at the White County Recreation Center. Again, we're asking that you're in place by 2 o'clock this afternoon. If you have oxygen, if you're on oxygen and you're dependent on electricity to keep your condenser running, then we also ask that you call that number on the bottom of the screen to at least let us know you're there. We will make arrangements for you if you have to have electricity. But again, we need to know you're there, and we need to coordinate with you to get you to the facility that service is going to be provided. And we need to do that before the onset of our frozen precipitation later on today. So please call that number. We have already received some precipitation this morning. It started about 8 or 9 o'clock, and it was mostly in the form of sleet and maybe a little rain mixed in. I even saw a snowflake or two on my way in this morning. That was completely expected. We anticipated that happening this morning, and we told you yesterday that would probably happen. That precipitation has slowed now. Our temperatures are still well above freezing, and our roads are in good shape at the moment. And we think that that will continue to be the case throughout most of the balance of this day. But things could start deteriorating, especially in the higher elevations, anytime after 3 o'clock this afternoon. And I think certainly after sunset, we'll start to see problems again, highest elevations, and then eventually down into both of our municipalities, Helen and Cleveland, and countywide after dark this evening. I would anticipate travel issues to begin anytime after dark, and I anticipate roadways to become completely impassable sometime between 9 p.m. and midnight. I would also anticipate almost, if not complete, power grid failure by midnight tonight into Sunday morning. The precipitation should end sometime around noon tomorrow into early afternoon. There is a chance that we could switch over to freezing rain, sleet, and snow at times throughout this entire event. But on the back end of the precipitation, shortly after noon tomorrow, we could briefly switch over to all snow for an hour or two. And then the precipitation is gone by 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Then the problem becomes the wind. Winds will start gusting out of the northwest at 15, 20, 25, maybe 30 miles per hour. And even up on the ridge tops, we could be looking at 40-mile-per-hour wind gust. Any tree or power line or power pole that is still standing when that starts is in jeopardy of falling. When we wake up on Monday morning, White County could potentially look like a Category 2 or Category 3 hurricane has moved through the area. Damage could potentially be that significant across this county. Understand, we've been planning for this since last Sunday. We have plans in place for debris removal. HEMC, Georgia Power, Amicalola all have plans in place for power restoration. They already have equipment staged all across the southern end of our county and down into Hall County. They're ready. We are ready. We've done all the preparing we can do. It's go time now, and you can be a hero by listening to the message we're trying to send out to you. Finish your preparations by noon. Be off the roads by 3. Be prepared to shelter in place for multiple days. If you plan on attending our congregate shelter at the White County Park and Recreation Facility, please call the number scrolling on the bottom of the screen or visit the website to pre-register so we know how many people we're going to have. Now's the time. Be prepared. Be safe. May God bless White County, and let's all make it through this safely. We will continue with our live updates throughout the day, throughout the night, and throughout the day tomorrow. And we'll bring you more information as information comes into our Emergency Operations Center. We fully activate at 12 noon today. We're here to serve you, White County, and we will, as long as we possibly can. Thank you, and we'll see you back in here again shortly with another update from White County Public Safety.